Hexagonal water is organized living water. One of the ways that I describe in my writing about hexagonal water is that it is like a quartz crystal. In fact, it has the same molecular geometry as quartz. Crystals are used in the technology industry because the organization of the molecular structure allows information to be transferred. Is that the molecules are organized such that they move together, just like a sheet that's blowing in the wind. So when the wind blows through the sheet, there's almost like a wave action. This is the wave action in water. When the water is hexagonally structured, when the water is organized, those molecules are moving together. Even though they're moving, because water is a dynamic substance, they can move together, and we call this coherence. Coherent, hexagonally structured water moves together. And so, in the human body or in other organisms, signals can be transmitted right now in an instant. Information can be transferred in this medium. But when the water lacks organization, when the molecules are not organized in a specific repeating pattern, which, by the way, in water is based on hexagonal symmetry, that pattern is, and that's why we call it hexagonal water. This becomes a very, very important thing in the human body, to be able to carry information at the speed of light right now in an instant. This is hexagonal water, a living liquid crystal. It is important for water to have oxygen in it, because oxygen, of course, is a purifying force. And this is one of the reasons why moving water always stays clean and pure, is because it gathers oxygen. Oxygen is a purifying force. You know, now we use chlorine and things like that to purify our water, which is not really healthy for the water. But in nature, water gathers oxygen, and as it moves, the movement and the oxygen allow water to release negative vibrations and negative frequencies as well as pollutants. So water that sits for a very, very long period of time, especially if it gets warm in the sun, sitting in a reservoir, this water is generally not as healthy because it has not been allowed to continue to move freely. The movement brings in oxygen, which purifies the water naturally. Between movement and oxygen, water maintains its purity. Well, you know, chlorine is a poison. It's been used for a poison for years and years, and that's why they put it in water, because it poisons bacteria and other organisms that can be harmful in the water. Unfortunately, they don't take it out after it does its cleansing job in the water. So you and I, if we're drinking tap water, are drinking chlorine, which is a poison. And because we're a large organization by comparison to a bacteria in size, it's not going to kill us the way it kills a bacteria. It's not going to kill us now. But over the long term, there are many, many studies that show that drinking chlorinated water produces all kinds of problems. It has even now been linked to some forms of cancer in the digestive tract. So, you know, chlorine is not something you want to have in your water. Interestingly enough, because chlorine is a gas, if the water is exposed or left out on the counter, most people understand that the chlorine will begin to evaporate. And over a period of 24 to 48 hours, the chlorine will dissipate and be gone. If you move the water, that will dissipate more rapidly. So if you allow the water to move, it'll pick up oxygen, which will neutralize some of the effects of many contaminants in the water. But chlorine is not something we want to drink. Each of the fluids in the body has got a different pH. For the most part, your lymphatic fluid, your extracellular fluid, that's the fluid that's outside your cells, your blood, maintains a very slightly alkaline pH. But there are fluids in your body that are slightly acidic or very acidic. In the digestive tract, of course, you've got to have acidity in the stomach, very strong acidity, in order for digestion to take place. In the pancreas, you've got to have very strong alkalinity happening. So there are many processes that require different pH in the body, and it really is about balance. It's not about completely alkalinizing your body. It's giving your body a balanced water, and it will do the rest because the body is innately intelligent. So it really is not something we want to do to take highly alkaline water. And it's not good, on the other hand, to drink acidic water. So what we want is a very slightly alkaline water, just like nature naturally produces most of the time. Nature always gives you balance, always gives you a balance of minerals, acid and alkaline, and then the body will take them and use them exactly how it needs to use them.
I've been drinking hexagonal water for about 2 years now. I drink it mostly exclusively because I don't really like to go very many days without drinking hexagonal water because of all the benefits that I've noticed that it gives me. I run a lot, I exercise, and when I'm running along and I start to feel tired, I'll take a swig of my hexagonal water and I'll just feel a lot of energy, a burst of energy in my body.
Pretty quickly, most noticeably, I was using the restroom a little bit more often than normal, I guess you would say, which is a good thing. I ended up speaking with the neighbor again after that shortly, kind of asked him about it a little bit, and he said that this is a normal thing with the hexagonal water system. Body is detoxing, flushing out a little bit better for a couple days. Did notice an overall increase in energy level, felt better, slept better.
When I first drank the water, I didn't feel any difference in taste compared to the mineral water I was drinking. But after a few days, I noticed that my skin felt softer and more hydrated than before. But this didn't really grab my attention until I went out of town for a while. I went back to drinking other bottled water during my trip and shortly noticed that my skin was very dry, especially my lips. They started to dry and crack. I came back and started drinking the hexagonal water, which hydrated my skin very quickly, and I definitely felt the difference.